I'm here at an old ranch home here near Long Beach, California, Rancho Los Cerritos, or Rancho Los Cerritos, if you don't habla español. Historic old home here, dates to the 1840s, and there are some ghost stories here. I was just chatting with staff, and down here, we can't go up the stairs, but there's a staircase back here. Take a quick look at this parlor. This is beautiful. Spacious parlor here, high ceilings. So back in the day, apparently employees did not like to go upstairs. They said that up there on the top floor, they would hear the sound of people crying. They'd feel a presence. Here we can take a look at the staircase. If you go up these stairs, up those stairs, that leads up to the second floor. Up on the second floor, the employees, they didn't like to be there alone. One of the employees was fixing the pipes up there one day. He was up there and then he felt somebody tap him on the shoulder really hard. And he heard a voice, even felt the breath on his neck. He heard a voice say, "It's gonna be okay." Turned around and nobody was there. So he got out of here. So up there on the second floor, a lot of the employees really didn't want to be up there, especially alone. They would hear people crying, and it's a fact that people died on this property. The Bixby family owned it in the early 1900s. Of course, it was built back in the 1840s when this was Mexico. Built as a ranch home in the 1840s, named Rancho Los Cerritos, like the hills. We're up here, high in the hills, high above the mosquitoes and the rivers, not far from Long Beach. But I want to show you the library because I just heard an amazing ghost story from this library. Employee told me the story. So let's go into the library. So the children are buried on this property. Let's give you a look at the whole garden, really a beautiful garden area. And then this sunroom here. The Bigsby family lost several children here. They were buried right here on the property. So if you heard crying from disembodied voices, it could be some old historic memory that the property clings to of those tragedies that happened here. But in the library, you've got to see this. So this library is where people used to hold seances. So let's go inside. In the 1990s, employees would hold seances here. They'd actually bring in a medium and they'd hold a seance and call up people. So one of the local legends is a man named Miguel Murillo. And he lived here in the 1800s. He was a mestizo. He had an indigenous and Spanish heritage. He was a vaquero, a cowboy. And it was said that he found some gold lingots. And he had no use for money, so he just dumped them in a lagoon. And nobody knew quite where. There were also stories about Bigsby having hidden gold somewhere here on the property. So in the early 20th century, these rooms were just rented out to tenants. A lot of those tenants heard those stories of hidden gold, and they went looking. They really wanted to know where that gold was. So those people who lived here in early 1900s, they were laborers on the ranches. So they were looking for the gold. Fast forward 100 years or so to the 1990s, right here at this table, a seance was being held. The employees sat down here along with the curator, who was the only male. Everyone else was female. The curator was here. He was in charge. And there was a medium who was apparently channeling some of those spirits of the people who lived here almost 100 years prior. And the medium said, "Where is the gold? Tell me where the gold is." The curator, he said, "I don't know. I don't know." And the table, look at how heavy. You can't move this table. Really heavy table. The table lifted up and pushed him. So the curator, he got up and he moved around to the other side of the table, stood over here, and the table lifted up and it pinned him up against the wall. This super heavy table right here, raised up, levitated, and pinned the man up against the wall. So the idea is that the medium was channeling some angry spirit who really wanted that gold. Somebody who lived here, had no money, looked for that gold their whole life, and still is trying to find that gold, and was demanding from the curator, "Tell me where the gold is. So this is that seance table where in the 1990s the employees would hold their seances. So let's just give it a quick knock. Everything's calm and quiet here so far. So I don't think I'm going to knock twice. But this was the site of those old seances, and they say some of those spirits are still hanging around.